Hey y'all, that just made me nervous. It's been a while since I've done a StreamYard stream, and the little countdown there gave me heart palpitations there for a second. Okay, so listen, we're back. Welcome back to A for A. Sleepy Josh is here too, hanging out in the background. We've been trying to get this going for, I don't know, like a week and a half, 2 weeks now. Life has been ridiculous. Andrew's got family health stuff going on. I had a death in the family. Just dumb shit. You know how it goes. So Sleepy and I decided we were just going to wing it today. So this is not very structured. Not that A for A ever really was, but this is not very structured. I don't have anything like any kind of time frame or anything like that. We're just going to go through some of the stuff that's been going on with the Assange case, Daniel Hale, some other things that have been going on. I didn't have them like pulled up or set up, but I can do the numbers as we used to always do. But again, this is very off the cuff. I'm just reading it off the app here. So, okay, let's start with it has been 842 days since Craig Murray was released after being arrested under some bullshit charges. It has been, when was Daniel Hale released? Does anybody know? That's the question. I don't know for sure. I know that it was in February at some point, but I don't know an actual date. I didn't even learn about it until a couple of weeks ago when it was announced. So he was kind of released very silently, I think to like a halfway house or home arrest type situation. His actual release date was not scheduled to be until July 5th. So I'm glad that he's out, at least of prison. Obviously, he's still under some kind of confinement, which is bullshit, but what can you do? I'm probably going to get in trouble already. I forgot I'm on YouTube. I'm cussing already. Isn't there like a rule that you can't cuss in like the first 5 minutes or whatever? Stupid YouTube. Okay, so Daniel Hale's free. I'll find out the date for that, so we have a number for that. But it has been 892 days since he was transferred to the Communications Management Unit. It's been 1,011 days since Reality Winner was released. It was 1,086 days since Daniel Hale pled guilty under one count of the Espionage Act. 1,219 days since Jeremy Hammond was released. 1,469 days since Chelsea Manning was released. 1,805 days since Ola Benny was arrested. And just a heads up on Ola Benny, they're fucking with him again in Ecuador, which is ridiculous. But pay attention to that. He has been tweeting about it some, and I think EFF might have written an article about it or just tweeted about it or something like that. So just so everybody's aware, Ola Benny is still under the fire. Let's see. 2,401 days of inhumane pretrial detention for Joshua Schulte. Obviously, we need to update that as well because he has since been convicted and sentenced to, I think it was 40 years in prison. That if you're not familiar, Joshua Schulte is the alleged, I guess I can stop saying alleged since he's been convicted, the Vault 7 whistleblower. So he's been convicted despite the fact that they had absolutely no case whatsoever. Julian Assange has been under illegal and arbitrary detention for 4,853 days. 4,853 days. That's intense. Okay, so next, by the time we have another vigil, which we're hoping to pick these up and do them regularly, obviously the case is picking up. So I will try to get those updated and more organized. Again, this was kind of a last minute, hey, Sleepy, can you do a stream? Like very quick. So again, we've been trying to do this for like a week and a half. I just really wanted to get the first one back out of the way. I didn't really announce it. I didn't really hype it. Nobody knows we're doing it. It's just me and Sleepy here talking to ourselves probably. So, but I just wanted to get it moving, get it back on track so that we can try to pick up the coverage again. I don't know how often we'll do them or if they'll be like a regular day scheduled at the same time or whatever. It's maybe whenever we can figure it out, whenever our lives allow us or we have time to do it. But I would like to do them more regularly because there's obviously a lot going on. So let's talk first about, I don't know, should we do Daniel Hale or should we do Assange? I guess I kind of already touched on Hale, so we can stop or start with that, I guess. But for those of you who do not know, Daniel Hale was the drone whistleblower who exposed to or released to The Intercept. And as I do every time we speak about The Intercept, I will say, fuck the Intercept. If you are, this is my public service announcement to any potential whistleblowers. If you are somebody who is in a position of having information that you would like to release to a media organization as a whistleblower, I have two pieces of advice for you. Number one, get a lawyer. Number two, stay far, far away from the Intercept. They have a terrible record in protecting their sources. So Daniel Hale was in fact released from prison, as I mentioned. Here, I'll pull this up. Forgive me, because it has been a very long time since I have been on StreamYard. So I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
It's our famous pre-production.
Yes, we're very good at this. We're so organized and professional. What's crazy is I actually hosted a fairly professional show on an actual network, but I had people for this.
Right.
People to pull up my shit and run my tech stuff. So all I had to do was show up and talk. I'm not used to doing this stuff. So this is my prima donna tantrum that I'm throwing because now I have to do it myself. It's bullshit. Okay, so this is the article from the Dissenter. Obviously, good Kevin Gustola wrote this, and we'll go through a little bit of it here. So drone whistleblower Daniel Hale was released from prison in February after spending 33 months in some of the harshest...
Hey, make the text a little bigger.
What do I do? Control and then...
Plus.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's how much I know about tech stuff. I had to is it control and okay. I'm terrible at this stuff. Sleepy knows. Okay. Drone whistleblower Daniel Hale was released from prison in February after spending 33 months in some of the harshest confinement conditions ever imposed on a person for disclosing classified information to the press. Hale remains in federal custody, but is living in home confinement until July. As I mentioned, his scheduled release was July 5th. Because I was going to go, Julian's birthday is July 3rd. So I was going to do a big event July 3rd, 4th, and 5th, kind of combining the 4th of July, Julian's birthday, and Daniel Hale's release. We may still do that. I don't know. Though President Donald Trump's Justice Department indicted Hale, his case became the first major Espionage Act conviction secured by prosecutors under President Joe Biden. In an opinion article for Al Jazeera English, Hale marked his freedom by weighing in on the decision by special counsel Robert Hur to not recommend charges against Biden for mishandling classified information. And here's why I love Daniel Hale. My guy just got out of prison and he's already throwing punches, and I love it. Hale noted that the similarities between what he did and what Hur said Biden did, and powerfully illustrated the disparate treatment that he survived. Both Biden and Hale kept classified information, quote, outside of a secure facility, end quote, at their homes and offices. Both spoke to a reporter about the information. Both expressed concerns about official United States policy, with Biden objecting to the 2009 quote unquote surge in Afghanistan and Hale objecting to the quote unquote consequences of prolonging the war. Quote, Biden was let off the hook because he did not mean any harm. In contrast, the government's pretrial motions in my case argued that I not be allowed to present evidence of what it called my good motives. Afraid my motives might make me appear too sympathetic to a jury, I, like every other whistleblower before me, was rendered effectively defenseless because of a legal technicality in the way the law is written. Given no other choice, I was forced to plead out to avert a costly, unwinnable trial, end quote, Hale recalled. Now, this is what we were talking about in quote unquote espionage court, as John Kiriakou likes to call it. You do not get to present a public interest defense. Essentially, you don't get to present a defense. You do not get to say, yes, I broke the law, but I did it because whatever the reason is. I did it because I thought it was in the best interest of the American people. I did it because, crimes were being committed that were far graver than me releasing the information. You don't get to say any of that in court. And we all know that nobody wins in espionage court. I highly recommend going and checking out any of the interviews or conversations that John Kiriakou has done on this subject, because he speaks about it far better than anybody on planet Earth. So we'll go, I don't know, do we need to go through his back? I guess we could. His background is probably known to our audience, but Hale was a signals intelligence analyst in the U.S. Air Force. He was deployed to Afghanistan and stationed at Bagram Air Base, and Hale later worked as a contractor for a firm known as Leidos. His contracting job gave him access to documents on the U.S. military's drone program, which he shared with journalist and Intercept co-founder Jeremy Scahill. Fuck that guy. Which, to be fair...
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. To be fair, though, I actually had a Twitter exchange with Daniel Hale years ago, and he said that he didn't take issue with the way his particular case was handled. I respect that and also disagree. I think if it had just been Daniel Hale that got screwed over and ended up in prison thanks to The Intercept, I might be a bit more forgiving. This is a pattern of behavior for The Intercept. So I have zero fucks left for The Intercept. Documents from the 2010s, which Hale revealed, brought attention to the sheer amount of civilian deaths caused by quote unquote targeted killing operations. For example, during quote 1 5-month period, end quote, of Operation Haymaker in northeastern Afghanistan, quote, nearly 90% of the people killed in airstrikes were not the intended targets, end quote. So if you guys want to go and read the rest of this, I don't want to bore you by reading this entire article. It's great. Obviously, Good Kevin does a great job covering whistleblowers and all of that good stuff. So go check it out, read it, leave a tip. See that? Leave a tip, support independent journalists and journalism, please. And thank you. But good news. That's good news. Daniel Hale is out of prison. He should have never been there, but he's out. So we will take that. Often we don't get a lot of wins. So I like to make them up if I have to, but we got one. That's a good one. Okay. I think that's it on Daniel Hale. Am I forgetting anything? I know I sent you a bunch of stuff on this.
I think so.
Also, I guess I should, it's mentioned in that piece there by Kevin, but Daniel Hale did in fact write an article for Al Jazeera in his own words, where he talks about the craziness of himself being so heavily persecuted while Joe Biden, under very similar circumstances, gets off scot-free. No surprise, but I think it's definitely an interesting piece. And if you would like to hear in Daniel Hale's own words, you can check that out. I can throw that in the chat. Let's see. Copy.
We don't have chat. It's
what the fuck?
Because we had to add it with the old keyway, so we'll get
right.
that fixed for the next one.
I can always throw it in the show notes post. Yeah. After we're done, I can throw it in the show notes. But I mean, it's Al Jazeera, Daniel Hale. You can look it up. You can go. I'm sure that I know Kevin Gastola tweeted it out. I tweeted it out. I think Glenn Greenwald tweeted it out. A whole bunch of people tweeted it out. If you just go and just look up Daniel Hale, I'm sure that it will come up. It's not hard. So definitely go and check that out and support him as well. I also asked, I inquired as to whether or not Daniel Hale had like a GoFundMe. I'm sure that many of you remember that. When Chelsea Manning was released, there was a massive GoFundMe effort to cover her court fines and then also just get her on her feet again. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I literally live tweeted that situation out, and it was like just refreshing, like to see all of the money that was being raised, and it was raised so quickly. It was very cool to see the way that people rallied around her. So I was hoping we could do something like that for Daniel Hale as well. He has declined. Which is not surprising.
That's a humble dude, man.
He is a very humble dude. In fact, he asked for help for someone else. I should find that tweet. There was a guy that he met in prison, and he shared that fundraiser instead of asking for one.
We'll get all this added to the show notes when we're done here.
Yeah. So I mean, but that's Daniel Hale, right? I mean, we've talked about him at length. That's the kind of guy that he is. So it's not surprising to me that he declined financial assistance at this time. Obviously, though, he's still in under house arrest. So I'm not really sure what his situation is now. And there may come a time when he asks for some help. And certainly when that happens, I will share the shit out of it, because I would love to see us step up for him as well, if that is, if that's possible. So, yay, Daniel Hale's out of prison. It's a good time. Okay, so also, here's the EFF thing. I don't think that this is a article on Ola Benny. I think that is it lists to their archives, but EFF was the one that tweeted out about Ola Benny. You can follow Ola on Twitter at Ola Benny, OLABINI. If you're unfamiliar with his case, familiarize yourself with it. He was a friend of WikiLeaks, was obviously caught in that kind of ridiculousness that was happening there, where they were kind of going after anybody that was surrounding Assange and trying to put pressure on him that way. So they're fucking with him again. Again, not surprising, but it is ridiculous. His court case was an actual clown show. I remember following that not long ago, and it was in Ecuador, but an actual fucking clown show. Like all kinds of delays and witnesses not showing up and lawyers not knowing what they were talking about, and it was a mess. It was an absolute fucking mess. So go and support him as well. Also, this is a little old. Like I said, we've been trying to do this for a couple weeks. Rebecca Vincent from Reporters Without Borders, who I have serious concerns about. Reporters Without Borders is pissing me off recently. Like, for example, they don't list him as being an incarcerated journalist in the UK and things like that. It's just so stupid. I do like Rebecca Vincent. We've had her on this show before a while back. I don't necessarily have an issue with her personally, but Reporters Without Borders, I think, is incredibly suspect. But she tweeted out on March 8th, I've been back to Belmarsh prison this morning to visit Julian Assange, my 5th visit since August. We remain concerned about his physical and mental health. It's crucial to sustain international attention to his case as we wait for the Day X court decision and beyond. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up, obviously, I had Gabriel on my show, I don't know, a couple months ago, I guess, right around the Day X hearings. And I asked, obviously, about Julian's health, and it's not great. He's been bad. Gabriel said he's the worst he's seen Julian for a while. Obviously 5 years nearly. April 11th will be 5 years in Belmarsh. It's taking a toll. So he's not doing well health-wise, which is very troubling, but hopefully he won't be in there much longer. I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about where we're at and where I think we're headed, but it's got to end at some point, right? Like it's got to end at some point. So also I wanted to give a shout out. Obviously, again, this is old news because we are a little behind on things. Oh, I'm so bad at this stuff, y'all. I'm sorry. I apologize for being so stupid. But this Thomas Massie, first of all, shout out to motherfucking Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie is a rock star on this issue. He doesn't get enough credit. He's been a rock star on this issue for a while now. Really, I think Sleepy, was he the first member of
maybe
no.
Amash
and Tulsi, which
whatever. Yeah, we see how that fucking ended.
Yeah,
at least with Tulsi.
So apparently she finally talked about Julian Assange again with the Jackman brothers on their podcast, but from the time she left office until then, I'm not sure she said his name a single time. What the actual fuck?
I don't know of it.
I don't know of it. If somebody would like to point me to a situation where she did, I know that she did Nina Turner's podcast at one point and talked about it, but I think that was when she was still in office. I think that's when she did that bill that she did right before she left office.
She's been quiet a long time.
Yes. And obviously she's suspicious as fuck. I don't trust her. The silence over the course of years on this issue when we needed people to be as loud as humanly possible. And I think it's very suspect that suddenly now she's talking about it. Obviously she has political aspirations. I think she wants to be Donald Trump's vice president. And I think eventually she wants to run for president herself. That's my opinion. And so I think that that's very conveniently timed that now suddenly she is going to talk about it again. So annoying. But Thomas Massie's a rock star. Let's give credit where it's due. I don't agree with him on everything, but I think he is super solid on this issue and many other issues. But he did something that I think, in my opinion, is super rad. He took Gabriel Shipton. Each member of Congress gets a +1 for the State of the Union, and he chose Gabriel Shipton, which is Julian Assange's brother, as his guest. The reason why I think this is super cool is he did not have to do this. And it doesn't really get him anything. I don't think this is going to win him a whole lot of points with his own constituency. It's not like a big blockbuster issue that everybody's talking about that's going to get him a lot of credit, or certainly not going to win him any favor with the deep state, or you know what I mean? So I'm very, very, very grateful to him for taking Gabriel to the State of the Union, and then also, of course, for being a co-signer of the House Resolution 934 which is a bipartisan piece of legislation that calls for the protection of journalistic activity and the immediate release of Julian Assange. So shout out to Thomas Massie. Thanks for being awesome on this issue. I don't think you get enough credit. And so here I am. I give him enough credit. But I don't think a lot of people give him enough credit. So shout out to him. So, oh, and I should also, will that automatically switch if I switch on my end? No, it doesn't. Pause. It'll make it so much easier. I'm just going to pull this up solely because
They
I
have
also
improved StreamYard since last time we used it, though.
have they? Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. It's technology. I'm always going to be terrible at it. That's why I have you.
It's true.
Can I just tell you the number of times that I've been frustrated by something computer wise or whatever, and my youngest will say, "Mom, just call Sleepy." And I'm like,
you got my number.
I know. I hate bothering people though, so I always try to figure it out myself. If I can't, then I will resort to coming crawling, begging for help.
That's how you learn.
I know, but even if I learn, I immediately forget. You know what I mean? It's like, I know you just taught me this.
You lose it.
Yeah. No, that's true. And we haven't done StreamYard in ages. So, okay.
I've done it a little more recently, but
yeah. Have you? I have not. I can't.
I filled in a few times at Convo.
Oh, I have been on other people's shows who use StreamYard. I have not run a show on StreamYard in almost a year, probably. I think, because I think the last one I did was the last April, the protest where the guy tried to light himself on fire. That's the last one.
Yeah, we all needed a break after that shit.
I was so fucking stressed out after that event, dude. Like, it was already stressful. You know how it is. Organizing shit is stressful. Trying to get people to come is super stressful. Trying to like encourage people that this is an issue that we need to be like loud about. And it never works. And all of it's very super stressful and demoralizing. And I realize I'm bitching and moaning, but it's exhausting. And then I've been doing events for Assange for a while now, right? I've done lots of them, including, by the way, the largest Assange event that we've ever seen in the United States of America. 0 issues, none, not a single, nothing. Like, not even, I mean, maybe the worst thing is like, a guest, like one of our speakers didn't show up. Like, that's it. Like, that's the worst thing that's happened at any of our events that I've ever done until last April. And then we almost had a fight with Reverend Annie and Ian in some douche canoe. Some obviously, I guess I should say, we often get people who will walk by and yell, "Assange is a rapist," or whatever. You know what I mean? Or "he's a traitor." That's my favorite one. So we had that happen last year. And then also, obviously, a guy tried to light himself on fire. And again, thank you to John Kiriakou, who prevented that from happening, because I fucking froze.
I never could figure out who the fuck he was.
Me neither. I need to go back and look at it. I looked initially like a week later and I couldn't find anything. And I just got distracted and forgot about it.
It was strange.
It was incredibly suspect. I don't know what the point was. It's not like it was a big event. You know what I mean? Like, our events aren't, other than the big one, that one.
Yeah, it was not a large event.
No, I mean, the big one that we did, I will always be forever proud of that. That was a lot of hard work. That was a lot of constant interviews and like promoting it all over social media, and like meetings out the wazoo with all the organizers and speakers, and trying to organize the schedule and all that stuff. It was super, like, and we did it. Like, it was a massive success, huge event. So proud of it. But that's most of our events are maybe 50 to 100 people if we're lucky. You know what I mean? So
annoying as shit.
It is. It's very frustrating.
You know, like Andrew says, even if you're like the one person with the fucking sign at the end of the block.
Well, that's why we kept doing it. I mean, we were seeing like it was growing. It started off being super small, and
shit. When we started, we had 15 people, maybe.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll take that as a win. It didn't grow as quick as I would have liked, but you know.
It's just really hard. And I think that in this country specifically, especially right now, people are afraid to protest. And also I think that people just don't take this issue seriously. I think it's been made into an Assange issue, and I'm just as guilty as this. I think some of my activism has been too Assange centric and not focused on the broader picture, the press freedom implications and all of that stuff. But even then, I think press freedom and free speech are so abstract that I don't think anybody takes it seriously. It's not like it smacks you in the face, right? It's not like, hey, I can't feed my kids today. Or, hey, there's a genocide being live streamed. Like, it's not that. You know what I mean? So it's hard.
Well, it's also like the frog in the boiling pot, you know.
Yes.
Like the way they take away those rights, they're slow walking it. By the time people realize it, they're already fucked.
Too late. Yeah, I think it's already too late, frankly. But I'll keep plugging along, you know, because I don't know how to not do that. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Okay. Anyways, the reason why I wanted to did this come up, the Fox News thing?
Yeah. Hold on, I changed it over and you're talking.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I started rambling. But the only reason why I wanted to bring this up, we've already talked about Massie bringing Assange's brother, is that the author of this piece, Landon Mion, I hope I'm saying that right, Landon. I don't think I met him. He was at the big event. He's been to several of our events since then.
Oh, it's that guy.
Yeah, he's very tall. He's very quiet. He's very shy. But he is the only person in mainstream media who covers Assange that I can see on a regular basis. Anytime there is news on Assange, Landon covers it. And so I want to give credit where it is due. He comes to our events. He covers our events. And ever since he has started doing that, which it's not always been the case, but I'm not sure if the first one he came to was the big one, but he's been to several, and anytime there is an update on Assange, he covers it. And so I want to give credit where it is due. I think that's incredibly important. So shout out to Landon for being awesome and actually covering Assange, which doesn't happen. Okay. So I think
did he get nuked off Twitter?
I don't think so. Let me look.
There was
Landon. Kit Clarenberg did.
I thought there was someone from Fox that. Oh no, I'm thinking.
Oh, what the hell just happened? Did I just fuck myself?
I think you're good.
Okay. Yeah, he's still on there.
Okay. It's someone else.
Landon _ Mion, Mion. If anybody wants to go give him a follow, I would go give him a follow. I mean, I know it's Fox News, but who gives a fuck? He covers Assange, and I'm grateful for that. So shout out to Landon.
Yeah, just a reminder, we don't give a shit on who you vote for or watch or anything here. We're a one issue or it's more than one issue, but you know, press freedom is.
But we're a post-partisan organization.
Correct.
We don't give a fuck who you voted for. I don't care what books you read. I don't care what ism you subscribe to. I don't care.
I don't care if I will like hang out with you outside of activism.
No,
I could hate you and I'll still fucking work with you.
I don't care if this is literally the only thing that we agree on. Welcome aboard.
Dude, you know how many Assange people I've worked with that I can't stand?
Yes, me too.
So, you know, it is what it is. Like,
yeah,
this is 100%. More important than our fucking feelings.
Yes. And it's weird to me that is like a controversial thing. But it is, you know,
I'm too old to, the older I get, the less patience I have for that shit.
I know. And I get it all the time, dude. And less now. I think people have realized and recognized that you can come at me with that. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you're mad because I'm friends with libertarians. I don't care if you're mad that I have friends who are MAGA or Trump supporters, or I don't give a shit. Like, I do not care. I will talk to whoever I want to talk to, whenever I want to talk to them about whatever I want to talk about.
I love anywhere.com. I don't care if a lot of them are.
Me too.
That's where I get a lot of my foreign
Some
policy
of my best, like my best buds. Dude, I love those guys.
I love Dave DeCamp, dude. Like, I can get foreign policy news in 30 minutes a day. Like, it's not a bunch of opinions.
Everybody go check out DeCamp Dave on Twitter. He hosts anti-war news. He does a show every day. I think, is it every weekday?
I think so. I think he might do 6 days a week.
It's been kind of, he just had a baby, not super recently, but fairly recently. He's been sick. So it's been kind of up and down, but I think generally speaking, he does a lot of shows, and it's like a foreign policy roundup. So if you're looking to get foreign policy news and you don't have a ton of time, Dave DeCamp is your guy, for sure. Also, Kyle Anzalone, he hosts Conflicts of Interest. That's also another foreign policy show. Anti-war and the Libertarian Institute. I think his is more Libertarian Institute and Dave is more antiwar.com, but both are fantastic. And Dave also, I was going to talk about this later when we talk about the new Assange stuff, but Dave is also another one who, the minute Assange news comes out, within an hour, Dave will have an article out, every time, without fail. I never even have to question it. It's coming. Like, there is a Dave DeCamp article coming as soon as Assange news comes out. And
I don't know how that guy writes as many articles as he does.
Dude, all of those guys, like Kyle
too, yeah.
Kyle Anzalone. Listen, Kyle was a regular guest on my show. He used to come on when I was doing like before I took the break, when I initially worked at TNT. He was I was doing 3 hours a day. Huge mistake. But I was doing 3 hours a day. So every Monday he was my 3 o'clock. He was my first guest of the 3 hours that I was doing. And every week, right? So every week he was on, and it didn't matter. We had enough material to cover a whole ass hour because Kyle writes a shit ton of articles. I mean, it's insane. So yeah, every time I have him on, it's so hard for me because after I quit doing the 3 hours a day, he was just coming on every once in a while, like maybe once a month or whatever, and trying to dig through all of those articles and find the most important ones or the ones that work well together that would cover the which of these articles can we talk about that will best describe what's happening in China right now? Which ones can, you know what I mean? It's like, holy cow, my guy. It's so stressful trying to keep all that organized. Yeah, they are workhorses over there and fantastic human beings. Do I disagree with them on some things? Of course I do. That's okay. We're grown-ups. But they are my friends. They are very kind to me. They've had me on their shows. I've had them on my shows. We hung out at Freedom Fest the one year that I went to Freedom Fest. And I don't care if lefties get mad about it. I don't care.
They can go do their infighting shit and get nothing done.
Yes. That's what drives me crazy about that whole thing, because to me, and granted, I'm just some chick from Ohio, right? What the fuck do I know? But to me, if you want to actually get stuff done, you need to talk to people who don't already agree with you and expand your base, expand your ability, especially given that we're going up against the most powerful people on earth. I think we're probably going to need some numbers. And I'm not interested in isolating myself into my little safe space so I can feel smugly superior to everybody. I want to get shit done. I'm not interested in a social club. I'm not interested in, you know, I'm just not. It's not my jam. It's so bizarre to me. I often wonder, like, do these people not live in the real world? Because in my regular life, I'm surrounded by people I don't agree with.
Oh, me too. I mean, dude, most of my like friends that I've been friends with for like decades, like I don't agree with them on all kinds of shit. We're still, best of friends. It's the way it goes.
Yeah. I mean, my friends at the gym.
If your requirement for friendship is they have to agree with you 100%, that's called a fucking cult.
Yeah. Well, and you're not going to have any friends. You're not going to have any friends. I don't agree with myself all of the time. How are you going to find any one human being that you agree with on literally everything? It's not possible. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It is so absurd. But I honestly think it's that whole conversation is an intentional psyop to keep people from coming together. All of that stuff is.
Yes, 100%.
They don't want you coming together. They want you fighting amongst yourselves. Yes.
Instead of fighting them for them doing horrible shit.
I say it all the time. They want you mad at your neighbors so you're not paying attention to the man behind the curtain. That's exactly what they want. And all of you dipshits are falling for it and just doing their work for them. It's so exhausting. It's so exhausting. Ugh. To know that that's what's happening and watch it and be completely unable to get people to see is so frustrating.
And this is why we need a propaganda-free press.
Yes. Although, to be fair, I don't think that exists. I think that, we
There's always
right
biases.
now, I am pushing propaganda. I am pushing Assange propaganda. That's what it is, right? There's always,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you think you're objective or everybody has a bias, everybody has an agenda, everybody, you know what I mean? Like that's unavoidable. But I think that we just need uh, free press and corporate free press.
Yes. The corporate free
That's
press is
That's big.
the big.
It's still not perfect. Like I've talked about the problems with independent media. I feel like people get to a point where they're trying, once you reach a certain level of, I guess, success in independent media, I see a lot of people doing the drama for clicks.
It's ego
Um,
shit.
yes.
It's all
And I
ego shit.
see a lot of people tailoring their coverage of things to appeal to the broadest base because they want more subscribers and they want more Patreons and they want more whatever, whatever, whatever. And I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just the nature of the beast that once that becomes your source of income, you're obviously going to start to subconsciously be mindful of how you cover things and how you talk. That's why we know people that won't even say Assange's name because they're
Yeah.
afraid of what it'll do to their channel. You know what I mean?
I
Like
mean,
that's
to be fair, most of what I watch now, like that's not their day job,
yeah,
and they tend to give better information.
yeah.
It's not just focusing on one thing that's going to get them fucking clicks.
Yeah. Well, that's why I always I never, before I started at TNT, I never had a Patreon. Oh, I guess I do have a Patreon
Doesn't
cuz
have like
some
one person or
yeah.
something.
Well, that guy insisted that I create one, and so I did and never told anybody about it, just him. And I have a Substack, which Indy made me make for my show on TNT, which he was right to do that. It was very helpful to be able to do like a write up for the guest every day with links so that people could find. Because when I was
Oh
hosting
yeah,
that show,
rebuilding your archive, that thing is incredibly useful.
yeah. Well, and I think that the way I saw that show is my job was to elevate other people's work. Like I've always said I'm not a journalist. I'm again, some chick in Ohio. I'm an activist who accidentally fell into independent media and I'm a fangirl of other activists and of journalists and of whistleblowers. And so I felt like my job on that show was to find really interesting, very smart, way smarter than me people and elevate their work. So the Substack was a great way to make it easy for people to find links to other people's stuff. So I do have that, and I never solicited funding or donations on that, but some people have financially supported. I guess you can subscribe on there or whatever, like do a paid subscription. I feel really weird about that. That people are giving me money. It's not much, but it's a very strange thing to me. But I've never, I mean, you know that. We fundraise for events. That's it. That's all
Yep.
I've ever done is
I've never
fundraise
made
for
shit off
events.
doing any of this stuff.
Mm-mm. No, I mean, when I did, obviously at TNT, I was hired by a place to do a job and I got paid. But everything prior to that, all of my independent media stuff was 100% free. 100%. Didn't get
Yep.
any. In fact, I'm out quite a bit of money.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we fundraise the minimal amount possible to like get a room or get a
A
place for us all to
Airbnb in the
stay
ghetto.
and supplies, dude. And
Yeah.
that's like it. Like everything else comes out of our own pocket.
Yes, lots of money. I am terrible at like
I've spent so much money on servers and shit for all this crap.
oh, I know you have. I
It's
mean, the
insane.
amount of money and just in banners alone that I have spent, those are not cheap. A sound system that I paid for, a button maker, the button maker supplies. Like a lot of that stuff came out of pocket because most of the money that we would raise was like Airbnb, travel, food for people while we were there. I tried to make it as easy as possible for people who wanted to come to be able to come, right? So if we could get an
Yeah,
Airbnb
it's
that fits
expensive in
15
DC.
people, yeah, it is. But if we can crowdfund and get an Airbnb for like 15 people and then, like order pizza or whatever and feed people who are coming to help us put on this event. And I was hoping that that would help build, and it did. Like obviously it very much did, but that's all we ever fundraised for was that kind of stuff. So I'm the worst grifter. My husband gets very angry with me, actually. I'm not joking. This is a fight we've had on a regular basis. He gets so angry with me because not just because I spend money out of pocket, but because I don't do the Patreon or the whatever else you do with that. Like, I don't even know what you like, how people do that. Is it just Patreon, I guess, that people make most of their money on, I suppose. But
there's various services like that.
yeah. He's like, you're doing a job, like you're doing a job, like and I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. It just makes me feel weird to like have people supporting me running my mouth. You know what I mean?
Hey, you read a lot. Just saying. Like the prep work and all. I don't know. Like, that's why I liked your show, because you go through the show and you actually knew the damn content of the article.
Well, yeah. I mean,
so that is work.
But saying. I was probably going to do that anyway. Well, the TNT show, I was fine with getting paid for that. Like that was a play. I guess I just feel weird crowdfunding from just like people, like, you know what I mean?
Too. Like, I hate
hey, subscribe to my Patreon. Not that and I feel bad, like even saying that, because it's not that it's bad. I don't get angry when other people do it. I am a patron, whatever, of other people. It's like, I don't know. It's a me thing. Like I have like a complex.
I have a hard time asking for help from others. So
yes. Yeah. I should probably get over it and just, accept whatever. If people, I'm not saying people can't sign up to a page. Like, I'm not going to post it probably, but if you sign up, that's great. I appreciate the support and the help, but I'm not. It's just weird. I don't like soliciting money. I hate fundraising for events, dude. I hate it. Tough. It's the worst. I hate asking for money, especially now. Everybody's struggling. I'm like, oh my God. Ugh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like it's really bad.
It gives me the ick for sure. I mean, we just did that fundraiser to help Randy with the billboard truck, which was fucking awesome. Now he's got a digital one. So cool.
Oh, dude, that thing's rad.
Oh, I'll pull it up. Hold on. I'll pull it up. Very conveniently, I was on Randy's page, but hold on. I'll pull it up. Is this a good one? Yeah, as good as any, I guess. So this is Randy Credico, for those of you that don't know. He is a comedian and radio host. He's a friend of mine, longtime activist. He's funny. He cracks me up. But this is the will the audio play if I?
It should.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear it.
Digital billboard truck that they're now driving around DC. And they can change these images out very quickly. They can play video, like they've been playing the collateral murder video. They've been playing some of Assange's speeches. So they just drive around New York. This is the UK consulate, actually.
It's rad.
So cool. I mean, that's awesome. Okay. That right there, a freeze frame there, that's Marty Goodman. That's what I was going to talk about when I was on Randy's page. Yeah, so Marty, I'll pull that up now because that's what I was about to do before we got distracted. Sorry, me and my ADHD distracted.
Wasn't he at that last event?
Yes, he was at all of our events, really. I mean...
Oh, I remember him speaking. I don't know if it was the last one or another one.
Yeah, no, he did. He did not speak at the big one, the October one, because we had so many fucking speakers. But this is Marty Goodman, lifelong activist. I think he was 73. Oh, I might be getting that wrong. I'm sorry.
I thought he was like 68 or something.
I think that somebody printed an article that said he was 68 and then they had to correct it and say he was 73. But I could be wrong. I'm sorry for not knowing that, guys. But this is Randy's post about him, one of the most tireless and passionate activists in support of Assange that I have crossed paths with over the past 10 years has left us. Marty Goodman was a ubiquitous fighter and a figure in all things Assange, a genuine winter soldier. It's a huge loss. And yes, it is a huge loss. I called him cantankerous. Paula took exception to that and made it a point to post on Twitter that she disagrees with that. I think Marty was cantankerous in the best way, right? Like he was just kind of that. He was
ornery.
He was kind of a
feisty dude,
kind of grumpy. But these also just the sweetest guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe him, but he was incredibly passionate. tireless. Like, that guy did not miss a meeting when we were doing that big event. He was there for each and every one of them. Hugely helpful in getting certain guests for us. For example, I think he helped in getting Chris Hedges and some people like that. And so, yeah, it makes me sad that we lost another one and that he died before Assange was free. Like, it just, you know what I mean? Like, I would like for him to have lived long enough to see this reach a conclusion.
Man, it's weird. Like, we've been doing this so damn long now that like people are starting to die around us. It sucks.
Yeah. I mean, like Pilger and Ellsberg and Eric, obviously. I mean, man, what I wouldn't give for Eric to have lived long enough to see Julian free, you know? Although I will say that, and this might sound terrible, but I'm very happy that Eric died before October 7th.
Yes.
I think
that would have destroyed him.
It would have destroyed him. It would have destroyed it. I think, honestly, if he hadn't already died, I would have killed him. I think that the grief, it would have devastated Eric. Palestine was a huge issue for him. Something that he was incredibly passionate about and had been on the ground for decades, literally decades.
Longer than I've been alive.
Yes. And I am very grateful for the fact that he did not have to witness what's happening now. Because you're right, it would have destroyed him.
I mean, it's destroyed.
It destroys me.
A little bit.
Yes. Like, I feel like I am forever changed by the past several months. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, we're watching a genocide be live streamed in front of the whole world. And then you got assholes gaslighting us about it. Like, oh, it's not a genocide. Like, somebody, I tweeted about today because somebody was like, it can't be a genocide unless there's a tent. And I'm like, bitch, I have a whole ass thread, a massive thread, dozens of tweets of high-level Israeli officials, their proxies, their spokespeople, U.S. Proxies and officials, very plainly being incredibly clear about their intention to genocide Palestine. Like, this isn't up for debate. It's a genocide. It's not up for debate. Sorry. Not up for debate. Fuck Israel. I'm going to get us kicked off YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't care, honestly. I don't care.
We got Rumble. Other platforms. Yeah, I got to get them hooked up, but, you know.
We'll go to Rumble and Rockfin and Odyssey and wherever else we can go.
And we've still got our self-hosted shit. So
yeah. Yes.
We will be findable somewhere.
We will. They're not going to make me go away.
Yeah, I think you've already got a community guideline strike on Bitch.
Oh, I have a couple, I think.
So I think
I'm pretty sure I have two.
More, they're going to start limiting us on streaming there. Oh no, not YouTube. We'll get the Odyssey all worked out.
Rumble gave me a pass. I guess you're supposed to have so many followers or whatever before you can live stream, but they gave me a pass.
Let's add it.
I somebody tweeted about it, and I think that they saw that I have like a relatively decent Twitter following, and they're like, "Oh, you can have a pass." You know what I mean? Like, I think they just wanted me to.
Yeah, I mean, more platforms the better.
I have not taken advantage of that though, because I haven't been streaming really for myself. So, yeah. But I'm not going anywhere. I have a feeling that Elon's probably going to try to boot me off of Twitter at some point. Hopefully
maybe
everybody
I can get your ass over to Mastodon or something.
Well, I hope everybody makes a whole lot of noise about that when that happens, because
no doubt.
I have a feeling
I'll probably get banned too.
I have a feeling that that's coming. Forget the fact that I regularly call out Israel. I also regularly call out Elon Musk, and he has very thin skin. So I don't think I'm long for Twitter. We'll see. Okay. Let's move on to the latest news on Assange so we can get out of here and I don't take up much more of Sleepy's time. Again, we're going to try to do these more regularly and just get back in the swing of things. We haven't figured out like a schedule or a game plan or any of that stuff. So
yeah, we're going to try to do it at least once a week.
Yes. So that's the plan.
We need to nail down days, but the days might vary.
It's kind of hard with everybody's schedule, like Andrew's work schedule. He can't really stream until super late at night, and I'm old. and don't want to stay up super late at night when I have to get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock with my kids. So we may have to do weekends, or maybe I'll do like a weekday stream and then we can also do a weekend stream, or we'll anyway,
figure it out.
Once again, we are having
doing our post-production meeting
during the production. We do this a lot.
Things never fucking change.
Yes, but we'll figure it out, and then we'll try to keep you guys as updated as possible. But they may just be very kind of on the fly initially until we get things ironed out. I honestly today we just wanted to get one. I just wanted to get one. Just like we got to do one.
We got to get back into the swing of it.
Yes, because
rip that shit off like a band-aid.
Yeah, well, we tried to do it a couple weeks ago, and then I think Andrew had some shit going on. And then we were supposed to do it over the weekend. I had a death in the family, funeral shit going on. And I'm like, okay, we just need to do one. Let's just do one. So hopefully we'll be able to get things worked out here pretty soon. So, okay. The Assange stuff, where we're at currently, I'm sure everybody here knows the current situation and what we're waiting on. So the request for appeal that was submitted, I don't know, like a couple months ago, a couple months ago. We are waiting for that decision. As you guys know, they like to take their dear old time with this shit. There's no deadline. There's no like, hey, you have 6 weeks to make this decision. I think that March 4th was the following the February 20th and 21st hearings. The two judges who were overseeing the hearings requested information from both the prosecution and the defense. They had a deadline of March 4th to submit that to the judges. And that's the last really like official thing that we've had come out of that. So the judges, it's now in those two judges' hands. It is two different judges than the previous one, Judge Jonathan Swift, who denied the request for appeal and then bitched and moaned about there being too much paperwork to read. What a douche. It's the most important press freedom case in history. And my guy is complaining because he had to read a lot. Shut the fuck up. Lawyers, oh God. I hate all of these people. But the two judges who are overseeing this are no better. No surprise. They have massive conflicts of interest and nefarious ties and all kinds of shady connections.
Judge that don't at this point.
Yeah. These ones are pretty bad though. I think the one guy was like MI6. He used to do work with MI6 or something bad. Like it's not great. But we've always known, and we've been talking about on this show for a very long time, that we're not going to see justice through the judicial system.
No,
it's crazy that like that's laughable, but that's not going to happen. Again, it's going to take mass public pressure. So, that as far as the UK situation goes, that's what we are waiting on. We're waiting for that decision on the request to appeal from those two judges. I think, well, let's talk about the Wall Street Journal article before we get into what I think is likely to happen.
Consortium has one that's that's riddled with grossness.
Yeah, that's what I have pulled up. Also, Dave DeCamp has an article. I was going to pull that up too. His a little briefer and just kind of gets to the heart of things. But yeah, the Wall Street Journal article is fucking bullshit. It is, to Paula's credit, and to other, I shouldn't just give credit just to Paula, but there are a bunch of Assange activists who pour over every word written about this case in an effort to combat the smears and the lies and the misinformation. So every article that comes out that mentions Assange, there's a bunch of activists who read it word for word, like hardcore, dissect every implication and intonation. And if anybody fucks it up or gets it wrong or, uses the wrong phrasing, they will call you out and ask for a retraction. And it's incredible to witness. And they've gotten a lot of those. And they just actually did. I should pull that up. Paula got I don't know if it was Paula that necessarily got it, but Paula tweeted about it. And very quietly, the Wall Street Journal made the adjustment in the article. So here it is. Present, share, Paula. Okay. So wrong way. She said, compare yesterday's original screenshot of the Wall Street Journal's DOJ Assange plea deal article to today's. And so they obviously, as they always do, talked about here on the left, the Swedish rape charges. There were never any charges. I don't know how many times I've had to say that. But over here, they then changed it to the Swedish rape investigation. Which is how it should have been presented in the first place. But that is almost always one that we have to combat and correct, because even people
fell away.
Yeah.
Fell away. What the fuck is that? What does that mean? Fell away in a legal sense. That is so just smarmy.
It means they had no case, and so they had to just kind of be like, well, I guess we're done with this. Yeah, but the sweet, even people who are relatively affiliated to the Assange case or who have been involved with it and who kind of are educated, I have heard people use the word charges in regards to the Sweden stuff, and I have to always correct people on that. There were never any charges, ever. Not one single time was he charged with anything in that situation. There was an investigation. There were threats made from, I think, the United States to Sweden to not get cold feet because they knew they didn't have a case, but the United States really needed them to go after Assange.
I seem to remember every court date, they always, brought it back up and renewed it, and then it instantly went away after the court stuff, and it did that like 2 times.
Yes.
And then they finally had to just drop it and we can't prosecute this. There's no
evidence. They dropped it. They brought it back. They dropped it. They brought it back. And then they dropped it.
The last time they dropped it, though, I think it was they couldn't bring it back.
Well, I think that they dropped it and said that they're just they admitted there is no evidence.
Yeah.
And so I think now
they would not be bringing it back up.
Yeah, I think at this point, if they tried, it would just be laughable. You have out loud said we have nothing, and you're going to bring it back like that. I think that they've really I think they've shut that door now. I think it's served its purpose though, for sure. Obviously, we have to continue to correct it. So I think it certainly served its purpose. So, so ridiculous. But this is why people get mad at me when I say I do not believe all women. This is one of the reasons why. I don't believe all women. I know the way that sexual assault allegations are used as a weapon. I've seen it happen.
I've seen it happen in my personal life.
Me too.
So me too. It's not like that shit does not happen.
No, it happens more frequently than I think people would like to. I just read an article the other day. It was an older one, but some kid he was 16, I think, at the time. Some girl falsely accused him of rape. He was like a high school football player, and he spent 17 years in prison. And she finally came forward and admitted that she lied about the whole thing. His life completely ruined. And so, yeah, the whole believe all women thing is bullshit. Trust, but verify. That's my opinion. So yeah,
that should be true with everything.
Mm-hmm. But shout out to Paula and all of the other activists who were on top of that and who made sure that was corrected, because it's an ongoing battle. The just ridiculous amounts of bullshit surrounding the Assange situation is exhausting. So kudos to them. Okay, so the new bullshit surrounding the Assange thing is the Wall Street Journal article that was released yesterday. This article that I'm going to read you, because I am not going to read the bullshit Wall Street Journal one, is from Consortium News. You guys know I love them. If you know me, you know I love Consortium News. I love Joe Loria. I love Kathy Vogan. I love Elizabeth Lee Voss. They are fantastic people. And you guys know that I don't think that anybody covers Assange enough except for Consortium News.
Oh, yeah. And they have consistently
forever,
for as long as I've known of them.
Yes, for years. I mean, really, since from jump, as far as I know, they've always done incredible, consistent coverage. Yeah, they're fantastic. So, okay, we'll kind of just go through this, and then I'll give you. I have so many mixed emotions and thoughts on this whole situation. So it starts off, lawyers for Julian Assange and officials of the U.S. Justice Department are engaged in talks for a possible plea deal that could see Assange walk out of Belmarsh prison in London as a free man, according to a report Wednesday in the Wall Street Journal. The newspaper said the DOJ was considering whether to allow Assange to, quote, plead guilty to a reduced charge of mishandling classified information, end quote, which is a misdemeanor. He is currently charged with felonies for allegedly violating the U.S. Espionage Act and for conspiracy to commit computer intrusion, charges that carry as much as 175 years in prison. A deal to accept guilt for mishandling classified information could see Assange, quote unquote, eventually walk free if the 5 years he has already spent in London's Belmarsh prison is counted as time served. The newspaper said, quote, Justice Department officials and Assange's lawyers have had preliminary discussions in recent months about what a plea deal could look like to end the lengthy legal drama. According to people familiar with the matter, a potential softening in the standoff filled with political and legal complexities, end quote. Without elaborating, the paper added, quote, U.S. prosecutors face diminishing odds that he would serve much more time even if he were convicted stateside, end quote. So basically what they're saying is even if they extradite him, if he is convicted, it's not like 175 years is what he's facing. It's very unlikely that's actually what he's sentenced with. And it's I've heard some people say that it could be somewhere around 7 years. It could be, we don't know. But that's kind of what they're weighing here is what's the return on investment, I guess you might say. But here's the rub. Barry Pollock, Assange's U.S. lawyer, told Consortium News, quote, we have been given no indication that the Department of Justice intends to resolve the case, end quote. It's because there is no intention. Again, we'll talk about what I think is going on here in a minute. A red line for Assange in any plea negotiation, according to his brother, and I spoke to Gabriel about this when he was on my show recently. This is something we discussed, is sealing a deal without having to come physically to the United States, as he fears the terms could be changed once he's on U.S. soil. It absolutely would be, and in a U.S. prison. Constitutional attorney Bruce Affran on August of last year on CN Live said, quote, usually American courts don't act unless a defendant is inside that district and shows up to the court. However, there's nothing strictly prohibiting it either. And in a given instance, a plea could be taken internationally. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's not barred by any laws. If all parties consent to it, then the court has jurisdiction, end quote. So essentially they're saying that generally speaking, if you are somebody who is in another country and you are charged in the United States and you want to strike a plea deal, you have to come to the United States and come to the district in which your charges stem from and show up in court in order to enter into that plea deal. But it's not mandated. That's what Bruce Affran is talking about here. There's some wiggle room there where potentially he could enter into this plea deal without actually having to come to the court where these charges are from. So, so stupid. Affran also said that, quote, mishandling classified information misdemeanor was a possible way out for both the U.S. and Assange. I'm sorry. No. All of this frustrates me for so many reasons. First of all, fuck this shit. There should be no plea deal. The charges should be dropped. He did nothing wrong. They have no case. They know they have no case. All of this is garbage. All of it is garbage. The idea that there even is conversation about a potential plea deal makes me angry because there should be no charges, right? That it's just so frustrating to me that this is even a conversation that we're having. However, that is the press freedom activist in me coming out and understanding that if a plea deal is entered into, that forever changes journalism and press freedom forever. That criminalizes journalism, and it opens up that door, right? It opens up that Pandora's box where they can continue to build upon that criminalization of truth, essentially. And so that is very frustrating to me. However, I'm also not an idiot. And I know that Julian Assange has been through a lot. And I certainly would never ask him to sacrifice any more than he already has. I would not judge him if he took the plea deal. That's not a decision for me to make. Obviously, it has nothing to do with me. I'm not the one who's been in Belmarsh for 5 years. I'm not the one dealing with severe health issues. I'm not the one isolated in solitary confinement. I'm not the one who's had to be away from my 2 young sons for the entirety of their lives. I would have no ill will, animosity, or judgment towards Julian Assange if this is something that he entered into. But I think we also need to be very aware of the fact that this is bad. If a plea deal is entered into, it's bad for press freedom. That's the reality of it. It sucks that that's what it comes down to. But that's just, I mean, that's what it is. But I also think that we need to be incredibly skeptical about even the potential that this is legit. For example, we talked a little bit about what Barry Pollock said, but here's the full quote that one of the full quotes that he said, quote, "It is inappropriate for Mr. Assange's lawyers to comment while his case is before the UK High Court, other than to say, we have been given no indication that the Department of Justice intends to resolve the case, and the United States is continuing with as much determination as ever to seek his extradition on all 18 charges, exposing him to 175 years in prison," end quote. So his lawyers don't seem to have any knowledge whatsoever about these so-called talks, about this so-called plea bargain. So there's a couple different things that I think could be at play here. Number one, it's an election year. Joe Biden's struggling. And I think that this could be an opportunity for him to potentially get some feelers out there to if this would be a worthwhile venture for him to enter into, to maybe get some good PR. Would people be supportive of this? I also think it could be a part of this could be a trap. I think that, as I should pull up Kevin Gastola's tweet, because as Kevin Gastola pointed out, rightfully so, he said, so I'll read his whole thread here. Unnamed sources float idea to press that Justice Department might end case against Julian Assange if he pleads guilty to mishandling classified info. But Barry Pollock, Assange's U.S. attorney, says he's been given no indication that DOJ would accept a deal. Basically, U.S. officials chat to the press about some possible plea deal for Assange when he isn't guilty of any crime. Here it is. If Assange's team signals it would never be acceptable, then it is Assange's fault that he remains in prison. Officials can say he wants to martyr himself. And that, I think, is possibly what the trap may be, is that they are trying to shift the blame and the accountability of this from themselves to Assange. They want it to be Assange's fault that he remains in prison. And so they're trying to get his defense team to speak out of turn and to say something stupid. Which they have been very good, I will say, since this information is released. Barry Pollock's statement, Bruce, all of their statements so far have been very vague and very clear about the fact that they don't think that this is legit. Kevin then considers it doesn't matter if a plea deal is even on the table or consists of a charge that could legitimately be brought against Assange. The bare fact that Assange won't allow a bad precedent for world press freedom is turned against him by way of making it seem like he's unreasonable. And that's it. I think that they know Assange. I mean, I know Assange. I don't know Assange, but based on what I know about Assange from knowing people who, his brother, his dad, Juan Passarelli, Stefania Marizzi, I've met many people and had conversations with them about Assange. And I think that they know that he takes the press freedom implications incredibly seriously. So I'm not sure that this, again, I don't know. He's been subjected to psychological torture for over a decade. So he may just be tired and want it to be over. But I know that the reason he's in prison is because he takes the implications on press freedom incredibly seriously. And I'm not sure that he would go for this, frankly. He might, again, given his health conditions and the fact that they've worn him down. But that's why he's in prison, right? He's been offered an out before and refused to take it. Hey, give up your source. We'll give you a pardon. And he refused that, knowing full well what was going to come of that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that there's a possibility that this is a trap. I think that, it's anonymous sources. We don't really have any clear-cut information about what's actually involved here. His lawyers don't seem to have any knowledge of these so-called talks that have been taking place regarding the plea deal. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, y'all. I have a lot of mixed emotions about this. Again, if Assange chose to take this, I certainly wouldn't be mad at him. I would fully understand. I would also be incredibly concerned about what that means for press freedom, because that that opens the door for criminalizing journalism and truth. And I think that that's something we all need to be.
They get their way either way, you know.
Yes, they win. Like that they win. And I think that that's here's the thing. And I've said this before. I don't know how much people who watch the show have followed me elsewhere, but I say this pretty much anytime anybody asks me about it. In my opinion, again, just some chick in Ohio, take it or leave it, don't care. In my opinion, to my own defense, Gabriel Shipton agrees with me. We talked about this as well. In my opinion, they do not want to extradite Assange to the United States. I don't think they ever did. I think that they have wanted to just drag this out for as long as possible. They wanted to keep him silent for as long as possible. They wanted to wear him down physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all of those things. Frankly, I think that they were hoping that he would die of natural causes in jail. But I don't think that they want to extradite him to the United States. In particular, I don't think they want to extradite him to the United States in the middle of an election year. That's that would, if they do, they are a lot dumber than I thought that they were. That's so bad. It would be for everybody involved. For everybody involved. It's really bad for Trump. It's really bad for Biden. Either way, doesn't matter. It looks terrible for both of them. So extraditing a journalist to the United States in the middle of an election year does a lot of things. First of all, it makes it much more difficult for our media to continue to ignore this case. They've done a great job of it over the past decade or so, but if he is actually on U.S. soil, I don't know how they continue to avoid that topic of conversation. But not only does it open the conversation about Julian Assange and why a journalist is being extradited for publishing truthful information, it also then opens up a conversation about the truthful information, which they have done a very good job of distracting people away from. The conversation around Assange is always about Assange. He's dirty, he's smelly, he's stinky, he's a rapist, he's a traitor, he's a hacker, he's a whatever. It's never about the rape and the torture and the murder, and the war crimes and the corruption and all of the things that Julian Assange exposed. It's not about Vault 7. It's not about the corrupt election system. It's not about collateral murder. It's about Julian Assange is stinky and doesn't take care of his cat, right? That's what the conversation has been about for the past forever. And if he's brought here, I think that opens, people are going to become curious. Well, what information did he release that made everybody so angry? People are going to want to know. And they don't want that, certainly during an election year. And also it just makes both parties look really, really bad. Again, under Donald Trump, Julian Assange was arrested, spied on. There were plots developed to assassinate him, and he failed to pardon him. And then obviously Biden has continued that persecution. It would have been very easy for Biden to take office and be like, I cannot believe Donald Trump is persecuting a journalist. We're dropping the charges and releasing him immediately. That would have been easy for him to do. He did not, because this is a bipartisan, this is a deep state thing. This is an everybody thing. They all want him silenced. So, that's just my opinion. I don't think that they want to bring him here during an election year. I don't think, honestly, they ever really wanted to bring him here. I think they just wanted to drag this out for as long as possible. And we know that, right? Stratford Files. We know that because Julian told us. He released it himself. There's a conversation in the Stratford Files where they're discussing how they're going to handle their Assange problem. And one of those ways is, well, we'll just tie him up in legal stuff for the next 25 years. It's exactly what they're doing. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Sleepy? Do you think that they actually want to bring him here?
No.
I don't. At all.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I think they were hoping he'd be dead by now.
Yes. I mean, y'all, during COVID, they took all of the COVID positive inmates and put all of them in the same, I don't know if they call them in British prisons, the same wing, the same block or whatever. They have like their own word for it, and I forget what it is now, but they put him, he has an underlying lung condition. You don't think that was intentional? Of course it was. And listen, if they wanted him dead, he'd be dead. I think that they're concerned about making him a martyr. I think that there's a very,
yes,
they're dancing on a very fine line. And they know that. I think that they know that. And I think that there's a lot of desperate conversations happening behind closed doors trying to figure out exactly what play to make. But I think that they definitely do not want to bring him to the United States. Definitely, yes, definitely not during an election year.
But I mean, this appeal, they could, I mean, we saw how this appeal process works. They could stretch this out 2 years if they need to.
Yeah. Yes. And that's why I think, honestly, what's going to happen, and again, just my opinion, this is my prediction, my observation as just an activist who's observing. I think that almost certainly they are going to drag out the decision on this request for appeal for as long as they can, conceivably, without it being, I mean, the last guy, again, 8 to 9 months, I think it was, before that came through. It's March. So that would get them through to what? October, November, election time.
Yeah.
If they can push it back through the election, I think that they absolutely will. Now, after the election, will they decide to extradite him? It's possible. I think it's far more likely if Trump wins, nobody wins. They're selected. If Trump is selected to be president, which I think is likely, actually, I think that they will. It's a better chance that they extradite him because Trump very clearly does not mind. The reason Obama didn't go after Assange is because Obama is incredibly vain and he's very legacy focused. And he did not want to be known as the president that destroyed the First Amendment. And Trump has no issue being that guy. He doesn't care. So I think that that's a far more likely scenario. If Trump is selected and is made president, I think that it's potentially more likely that he could be extradited. And I'm going to need Trump supporters to stop pretending like he's some victim here, that he didn't know. He surrounded himself with bad people and they misled him. Bullshit.
Please.
Bullshit. Stop it. This man I think it was like 2010. I should.
I love the WikiLeaks.
Yeah. And then after he's elected, I don't know anything about WikiLeaks. That's not my thing. I don't know anything about it. Y'all, he's on record, on video in like 2010, 2011, when he is asked about the initial releases. I should pull it up. Of the Iraq and Afghanistan war logs. Hold on. Donald Trump, Assange, 2010. Oh, nope. Nope. That's not what I wanted. It's kind of hard to find because it's like an older video, but it's from like 2010 or 2011. He's being asked, he's standing in some weird hallway somewhere at some event or something like that. And he's asked about WikiLeaks and the Iraq and Afghanistan war logs. And he says, and I quote, "I think there should be the death penalty or something." That's long before he was President Donald J. Trump, long before he ever thought about running for president. And then while he was president, he also said that he thinks that we should be able to jail journalists so that we can squeeze them to give up their sources. Stop making excuses for this man. Please, I am asking you to stop making excuses. Death penalty. Let me see if I can find it.
Hey, can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Your video froze for me. Kill your camera and turn it back on.
Okay, hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Weird.
Well, shit.
Whatever.
Well, shit. We're doing it live, bitches. We're almost done anyways. It's fine. I can't find it. I'll find it and I'll tweet it because I don't want to dig through all these right now. But it's, yeah, Donald Trump is no friend to press freedom. Donald Trump he's not your guy. He's not your guy.
Not for that issue. That's for fucking sure.
No, just stop making excuses. It's so tiring.
Stop making excuses for all politicians, man. Like, these people aren't your fucking friends, man.
No, they're not. They're absolutely not. Okay, this is bugging me that my camera's not working. What is happening? Hold on. I'm going to remove myself from the stage.
All right, I re-added you.
What the fuck? All right.
Wait, hold on. Leave it on. I think it is. It might just not be working on my end.
Let me pull it up on my YouTube. I don't see it either, though. I don't see myself.
It's just being weird. Who the fuck knows?
Close. No, it's not on YouTube either.
Oh, well. I guess we can wrap up.
Hey, Glory Jones is in the chat.
Yeah, I told him at the beginning we weren't going to be able to pay attention to that because all I have is that YouTube studio this time.
Yeah. I miss me some Glory Jones.
I haven't talked to Glory forever.
I do miss me some Glory Jones. Lady Alex is here. Dingo was here. I don't know if any of these people are still here, but Karen's here. Hi, Karen.
It was good to see you guys all in the chat.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have the chat back up by next time. Hey, podcast by George. I love George.
Yeah, even if we have to make new fucking channels, we're gonna get that shit working.
Yeah, this again, just very last minute, impromptu, all that good stuff. Okay, so since I'm frozen and I pretty much got through everything we wanted to get through, we'll wrap it up here. Hopefully we will have. Oh, Garland Nixon is calling me.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna go call him back. But again, I'll try to be better about announcing it instead of just like popping up here. We'll try to hype it, promote it, all of that stuff. Eventually, we're gonna have guests and we'll do like the whole thing just like we used to. I just wanted to get today out of the way so that we could just get the ball in motion. I feel like once we got that first one going, it's like ripping off the Band-Aid and we can get moving. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. I'm happy to be back. I'll be very happy when I have the chat available in front of me because I missed the chat. We didn't have chat in TNT. Well, we did, but it was hard to monitor. So I missed the chat. It's good to see everybody in the chat. So okay. Anything else, Sleepy? Oh, obviously make your phone calls for House Resolution 934. Only takes 2 minutes. I know phone calls are kind of whatever, but it doesn't take that much time. So do it. Just do it. Oh, and obviously there, with the anniversary coming up next month, there's going to be events taking place all across the globe. So keep your eyes open for that and show up if you can. And then
follow Candles for Assange. There'll probably be a lot of those on there.
Yep. Yeah. Candles for Assange, number 4, Assange. That's Alex Hills. She does a great job. And yep, I think that's it. Hopefully we'll have another one of these out soon. Hopefully Andrew will be able to join us next time. Thanks for tuning in. We will talk to you soon. Peace. Thanks, everybody.
See you later, everybody.